Before the rain, the sky was still blue. My name is Nara. I am the wife of Ham, the second son of Noah. My name is not written in the scriptures, but I was there. When the heavens opened and the earth broke apart, I was breathing inside the ark. People remember Noah. They speak of his ark and his unwavering faith. Sometimes they even mention Ham's foolishness. But in between those great names and louder stories, I lived quietly. Between my husband and his father, between faith and confusion, I watched a new world take its first breath. Ham was the freest man I had ever met. His eyes sparkled with mischief, and his smile disarmed everyone. He followed laughter over logic, passion over patience. He was reckless, and his words often ran ahead of his thoughts. But still, I loved him. I believed he would break the old mold. He didn't live by the world's rules, but by his own rhythm. Though sometimes, that rhythm felt too shallow. Noah, our father, was different. He walked slowly, always with his head bowed in reverence. He tried harder than anyone to walk upright before God. His wife, my mother-in-law, was a woman of silence and steady warmth. When I first entered their household, she held my hands and said, "I will think of you as a daughter. The Lord has brought you to us." She meant every word. When I lost my first child, she said nothing, but held my hand through the night. That night, I fell asleep on her lap, soaking her robe with my tears. They were kind, devout, and deeply humble before God. I admired them, and I hoped that one day I too would be a mother others could lean on. Then one day, Noah said he had seen a vision, a dream from the Lord, that the whole earth would be washed away. Everything that breathed would perish. I couldn't believe it. The sun still shone warmly. The sky was impossibly blue. Children laughed. Animals grazed in peace. But Noah began to act. He cut down trees and started building a massive box. People mocked him. They laughed, spat, even threw stones. But I looked into his eyes. There was no fear, only conviction. No despair, only obedience. So I began to help. There wasn't much a woman could do, but I gave my whole heart. The ark's design was complicated, and the food for the animals, there wasn't nearly enough thought put into that. So I worked with my mother-in-law to separate the animals by their kind, to figure out feeding systems and watering methods. Felines fought when crowded. Birds flew toward any source of light. I used cloth and sticks to guide them and separated mothers from the young until they calmed. I could sense their fears, smell what repelled them, feel what calmed them. One day, Noah looked at me and said, "The Lord has given you a spirit of discernment." Those words meant more than I could explain. People grew more distant. They said we were mad. They shouted, "Why would your God save only you?" But none of them saw what we saw. Animals began arriving on their own, as if they heard something we didn't. One day I saw a pair of elephants walking across the plain. They moved slowly, carefully, and looked up to the sky as if they understood. The sky began to change. Blue gave way to gray. Winds howled across the fields. Children cried, animals huddled, and the silence in the air. It felt like the breath before a scream. That night, the ground trembled, the deep wells burst, clouds roared like beasts. Then the rain came, not heavy at first, just soft, persistent drops. But somehow, I knew it would never stop. I watched as the final animal entered the ark, an old fox, her fur patchy, her limbs trembling. She paused at the door, then slowly, quietly, stepped inside. And then, the door began to close. No one touched it. It moved as if drawn by an invisible hand, sealing us in. Outside, I heard shouting, cries. But inside the ark, it was still. I reached for Ham's hand. He was shaking. The sky was darker than night. The rain grew louder. And yet, I felt strangely calm. If this was the will of God, then there must be a reason, and I was ready to witness that reason unfold.